taking notes, so please don't think I'm rude, but I have to capture minutes. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to February's Government Relations Council meeting here at the Modesto Chamber of Commerce. My name is Michael Gaffney, and I'm the immediate past chairman of the board and current chair of the GRC. Please help yourself to lunch. It is Chefs of New York. It's local and wonderful. So please go grab a few pieces, and there's refreshments on the adjacent table there. Special thanks to Adam Barth and the Regional Transit Authority team for sponsoring today's lunch. Very generous of you. We really appreciate it. They will be our guest speaker momentarily. If any of you in the room or on the line would like to sponsor a lunch, get with me afterwards and we can chat about that. Let's move into introductions. I've already introduced myself, so we'll go clockwise, starting with Trish and around the room, and then we'll capture the folks on the line. So just state your name and organization.
Hi, Trish Christensen, President and CEO of Modesto Chamber of Commerce.
Dana Ferrer, Modesto Irrigation District.
Yamina Bayabani, Golden Valley Health Centers. Angela Swanson, Spanish South Regional Transit Authority.
Alan Barth. Nick Tafuzlian, Board of Supervisors Office.
Lisa Russell, former of everything, currently the executive director of the meeting is it.
David Wright, Modesto City Council, District 6.
Todd Aronson, CEO, Visit Modesto, home of the Almond Blossom.
Jeremiah Williams, District 5, City Council.
Awesome. And we'll go to the folks on the line. You went.
Yeah, Chris, would you like to go next?
Yeah, Chris Rickey, City Council member representing Modesto's District 3.
Thank you, Pete.
Pete Butler, the National Electrical Contractors Association.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg Holt, Constituent Services Director for Congressman Tom McClintock.
Hi, welcome. Rose.
Hi.
Rose, would you like to introduce yourself? That's the only other one.
Who's that? Rose?
Rose Moore.
Oh, Rose Morrow. Okay. Greg, can you repeat your last name?
Yes, it's Holt, Holt.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Everybody should have received the meeting minutes from Stephen. It should have been in the board packet. If there are no additions, corrections, or discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting, which was the month of January. Thank you, Cecil.
Second.
Second, Dana. Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing and seeing none, the motion carries as is. Thank you very much. And then we will move into report outs. Lots of elected officials and city and county folks here. So why don't we start with the city of Modesto? Whichever council member would like to go first.
Actually, I can just make a statement.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Andrew Gonzalez. I'm the Public Relations and Legislative Affairs Manager for the City of Modesto. We are currently recruiting for two very important oversight boards with the city. First is our Measure H Oversight Board. As many of you are aware, Measure H was a 1% sales tax passed by the citizens of Modesto to make improvements within the city. As part of that measure, it required the creation of a committee to be brought together to look at all the expenditures, all the money that came in from the oversight or from the sales tax. And it requires a wide breadth of types of residents and constituents within the city to include business, religious, school, community groups, that sort of thing. So we are still actively recruiting for that committee. If I've left some flyers up at the front, we got a QR code you can scan and go to the website, find out ways to go ahead and to apply for the committee. But we are still actively recruiting for it, so we're looking for folks here to go ahead and get involved and get engaged. The oversight board is very important to make sure that we're being transparent with the residents and the citizens of Modesto with the tax dollars they have so generously offered to us to make it to the city. So that's highly important.
How many seats are on it?
There are 9.
And how long will the applications be open?
There's no like time frame right now. We're just kind of opening up until it's filled. So we need 1 representative from every council district. So there's 6 openings plus 3 at-large seats. So we're still looking to recruit from amongst that.
Is that on our Facebook page?
We've been advertising on the Facebook page. Yeah, we've been advertising. Yeah, we've advertised. I think we've had it out 2 or 3 times already. I had a video I shot with Steve. We're gonna do that. It's gonna go out soon. It's gonna another kind of release of it. So, committee number 2 is our City of Modesto Audit Committee. This is also as a part of the November elections. It's a part of Measure G, which was our charter amendments that were passed by the voters. What this did is it put 2 public members on this audit committee, which is traditionally a standing committee with just city council members and mayor. But now we've added 2 members of the public to the committee. What we're looking for, and the requirement is we're looking for resident or citizens of the city of Modesto that have got 2 years of financial and performance auditing experience. Ideally, we like CPAs, but it's not a requirement. This is a new opportunity to get engaged and to be involved in the auditing process for the city. And we're actively recruiting for this. This is a very difficult one to recruit for. There's some very tight restrictions, but I think this is the exact group to advertise this to, because I think we've got those specific type of people in this room today. So both of them, it's a double-sided flyer. I left it up there on the front. If you're interested, of course, Trish, I'll go ahead and send you a digital copy of this.
We're
So
happy
you
to
can
come
get
up.
it out there. We're struggling to kind of get the audit community is a really tough one.
Anytime city has something that they need the community to know, send it my way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. But if you have any more questions, my name's Andrew Gonzalez, Public Relations, Legislative Affairs Manager for the city, and it's great to have you.
Just suggest one.
Thank you for that, Andrew. Any questions for the city of Modesto? I can open it up to any council members that would like to offer any updates in your district specifically, or Chris, you came off mute?
Yeah, I have a few updates if
Okay.
all right. I've spoken to this committee a little bit about this before, but we are still working on the abandoned commercial building ordinance. I'm hopeful that the city can kind of, we're doing we're reaching out to like landlords and real estate companies just to kind of give them an idea of what we're thinking, getting feedback. So once we're finished with that process, we should be able to move that forward. So that's something that we are working on now. In terms of my district, I did some research on how the Ranger program was performing. So I pulled some stats from Griseda Park. Citations are up 62% in Griseda Park since we launched the Ranger program about halfway through last year. So we're feeling like we're making some progress there. We still have a long way to go, but I like the direction that we're going. And one of the things we're doing in Measure H is we're hiring more rangers. And I think it's going to be helpful, not just in Griseda, but in all of our parks. So we're looking forward to hopefully ending up with about 10 rangers. That's going to help the whole city. I'm very excited about that. Our chat program, that's our community health and assistance team. This is the team of, is everyone familiar with it somewhat?
Yes.
Okay, so the chat team, basically they are dispatched by the police department. They're part of the police department for mostly homeless related calls and trying to provide assistance to the homeless. That team was originally 4 people. The county has agreed to fund that program for the next 5 years, which is really great news. And we're also going to be expanding it to 10 chat officers. So that's happening. Awesome. It's going to be great. It's very good news. Also, a couple other things I'm working on. I'm working on trying to put a discussion together with the council about the homeless. When I know when that is or if that's happening, I'll let you guys know. We're working on a ADU dashboard that's building accessory dwelling units. It's mostly done. One thing I wanted to shout out to you guys is like the 2 things that are really weakest about the dashboard is we don't have any like installed like financing options for homeowners if they want to build an ADU. I think if we could come up with a way to do like a home equity line or something that's connected to ADU, that might be awesome. So if anyone knows any of the banking people, that might be something that would be cool to offer. And then we could plug it into our ADU dashboard and build more ADUs. The final thing I want to talk about is I sent a memo over to Trish earlier this week. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to review it, but what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do and a couple other council members is we've proposed creating a media channel for Modesto. Really, Modesto right now is in this media desert right now. We've got a newspaper that's really kind of folding before our eyes. It's gone from 100,000 subscribers to under 20. It used to have 100 writers. Now it has like 10. we've got television stations that don't have local offices anymore, and they only come down here when something horrible happens. We got radio stations that used to employ 100 people that now have, one person in the whole, in the whole building. There's really no local coverage that we can count on for consistent news. And so this is a project that we're working on to maybe launch a channel that will provide content that's reliable and consistent, that will cover what the Modesto Fire Department's doing on a regular basis, what the police department's doing on a regular basis, cover local events, cover local public interest kind of stories. And so anyway, I sent this memo to Trish. If she could get it around to everybody to take a look at, I think it would be a very helpful thing for our community and something that we really need.
Thank you for the reminder. That came in while I was at conference. I haven't gone back to it.
Could I ask him a question? Channel 7, which broadcasts both the county and the city council meetings now. Why isn't that channel used all the time for announcements? I mean, because if you go to 7, like right now, it's just a blank screen and it says, information, doesn't give you anything. So that could accomplish, you could use that could accomplish some of what you're aiming for. Because
That's what this is about. That's exactly what this is about, is using that channel more effectively, but also melding that channel into the technology of today. So not only would it be like something that happens on that channel all the time, but also, is broadcast on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok and on YouTube and on LinkedIn and all these places where people are consuming content now.
Any other follow-up questions for Councilmember Ricky? Okay, thanks for that. We'll take a look and get back to you.
Thank
Let
you.
me know how we can support that effort. Yes, please.
Update, not necessarily for District 5, but the entire city. The Forward Together applications have been submitted. Some of you may have seen that already on the SB or other media streams. We did have 79 applicants, and unfortunately, some of them were out of the area, could not be used, which wasn't very many. So they are going through that process now of being able to go through all the applicants and see which ones we can pull forward and for the Forward Together initiative. And Andrew, our public announcement person, had already indicated that we are on the search for an auditor as well as an audit committee. So that's my report. And it's Dave or Councilman Wright or Alvarez has anything to add or say.
Jeremiah, you're referring to the police oversight?
Yes.
Excellent.
I don't have anything to report out, but like Jeremiah mentioned, I know most of you all. Those who don't know me, I'm Andrew Alvarez, represent City Council District 2. Which encompasses the west side, south side, downtown, and now after the 2020 census, grew a couple hundred households into the airport community. We're one of the biggest issues right now that we're facing, the top one that I hear is affordable housing. So just kind of get down on your radar for some updates like things to come. I'm on several different committees. Find out it's the website. One being the Economic Development Committee, and the liaison executive committee for the League of California Cities. Among others, the Airport Advisory Committee, and then I chair the I chair the trip regional river advisory commission.
Tuolumne River Regional.
Yeah. That trip, I chair that, and Supervisor Condit is my vice chair. Manny Graywell was chairing it prior, so it was a good handoff. I'm looking forward to representing my district I grew up in, hometown, home district, and I'm looking forward to give you guys updates in those different committees and commissions I'm assigned to. I'd like to attend.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you very much. Any questions for the city of Modesto before we move on? Anybody on from the county? Like to provide an update? Next.
Just a short one.
As you know, the Board of Supervisors has endorsed and has invested heavily in Stanislaus 2030, which is a program, a blueprint for economic vitality in the future for Stanislaus County. And so we're looking at agribusiness and other ways to take waste from agricultural use and turn that into biofuel. So it's very exciting. The Secretary of Agriculture came down, Karen Ross, she came down to Stanislaus County, and it was a great meeting at Modesto Junior College with Supervisor Graywall and Supervisor Chiesa. So very exciting times. Excuse me. And then obviously right now we're also going through the mid-year budget review and making sure everything's good with that. So that's it. Very short. Good stuff happening.
Any questions for Nick? Thanks for the update. Anyone with Marie Alvarado Gill's office? Senator Gill? We can go to. Hello? Let's go to Greg Holt. You want to come off mute and provide an update for McClintock's office?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me just fine?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. I'm trying to balance between my phone and my computer because I've got a desktop here. My name is Greg Holt. I'm the Director of Constituent Services here for the Congressman. I think most of the time you'll be seeing my colleague Kimberly. She just wasn't able to make it today. I'm not sure if she's been on one of these just yet, but Congressman McClintock now represents most of Modesto. He conducted his first teletown hall with that area in it just this last Wednesday. So we spoke to thousands of people throughout the district. So far, he's introduced 8 bills and 3 resolutions in this Congress, focusing on trying to get the budget balanced, addressing wildfire, and a number of other issues. Most of what I do with the Congressman's office is on the constituent services side, and that's where a lot of our work comes in here in the district. Our district office is up in El Dorado Hills, up in El Dorado County. But we are looking at putting a satellite office down in Stanislaus County. We don't have a place picked out just yet, but we help constituents with issues with federal agencies. So work a lot with the IRS, with the VA, with the DOD, that sort of thing. Lately, we've had a lot of immigration casework come up, quite a number of passports come up, and VA and IRS issues are pretty much ongoing. Another big piece that we help with and what we do up here is the Congressman is able to nominate young people to the military academies, West Point, Annapolis, Air Force Academy, and the Merchant Marine Academy. So this next cycle is going to begin in May. This most recent year was in the former 4th district. The Congressman was able to submit 40 nominations. So we're hoping to be able to get some more outreach, get down to some of the schools down in your area, and make sure that the young people down there know about that opportunity. So I'll be happy to take any questions and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, Greg. It looks like Chris has his hand up.
Yes, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. Just if you have any information on what the congressman is doing or any programs that the feds have that can help us on the homeless side or on the housing side, that would be really helpful to us.
Yeah. Can I circle back to you on that?
Yeah,
And
sure. I don't need an answer right now. Yeah.
Great.
Later. Fine.
Perfect. Thanks.
So Greg, I'd love for you to drop your email in the chat and maybe council can do the same thing. You guys can connect and then I can connect with you offline as well. That'd be really helpful. Appreciate that. Any questions?
Comment, Greg, if you need contact to help get down to the schools here, I have a very active working relationship with the different tiers of education, so I'm happy to help.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I just dropped my email in the chat. If you'd circle back to me with that, especially at the high school level, I'd really appreciate that.
I'll drop my email in for you as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'm also going to add my colleague Kimberly's. She's the director of the outreach for the Congressman. So normally she'd be the one taking these sorts of meetings. I usually am working stuck back here in my office and working on the constituent services side. So I'm going to drop hers in as well.
Great. We'll make sure she gets the calendar invitations to these. She hasn't already. Any questions for McClintock's office? Thanks again for joining. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you for having us.
Anyone from Congressman Doherty's office?
Yep.
Christian?
Chris Santos here with Congressman John Duarte's office. I was getting some questions on his committee and subcommittee assignments from a few stakeholders. So I have some handouts to the people here in person. He is on 3 committees. He's on agriculture. The subcommittees he has in agriculture are going to be general farm commodities, risk management, and credit subcommittee. And then the conservation, research, and biotechnology subcommittee. So we were just talking about Stanislaus 2030. That's, a little relevant. He's on the natural resources committee. So that's going to be the energy and mineral resources subcommittee and the water, wildlife, and fisheries subcommittee. And he also has the transportation and infrastructure committee with the highways and transit subcommittee, the railroads, pipelines, and hazardous materials subcommittee, and the water resources and environment subcommittee. So due to the nature of our majority, they're giving a lot of the freshmen a really good workload. So it's a good problem to have. We look forward to touching on the issues that are relevant to these committees, which are highly relevant to the Central Valley. We've already co-sponsored some bills with Congressman Valadao, the Water for California Act. We've also co-sponsored a resolution to take another look at some of the interpretations by the Army Corps of Engineers of the Waters of the United States Act under the Environmental Protection Agency. So we're excited to get to work. Our office is going to be located, once it is open, it is not open at the moment, but it's going to be at 90 South First Street in downtown Turlock, basically right behind Utter Place, First and Main and Grand Prix. So right down there for a good location for our office. We are doing our district headquarters in St. Claus County, so we're excited for our constituents up here.
Can you repeat the office information? I'm sorry.
It's going to be
91st South First.
90 South First Street in downtown Turlock. We're still getting IT and all that still installed.
Awesome. Any questions? Appreciate you attending as always. Let's move to Assembly Member Alanis. Justin?
Sure, yeah, all right, guys, glad to see you, sorry for my tardiness, I was under the impression that we're starting at noon today, now 11:30, it's my fault. But I think online it might say 12, so just, yeah, I know, for next month, but yeah, so that's my mistake for now, we just correct it. And Chris Dawn told me it was at 11:32 and I still showed up late. So anyway. I was like, tell them I'm late.
One anomaly, summer. Is that what you're telling me?
It's someone.
Nonetheless, Assemblyman Alanis has officially conducted his first hearings and votes through his committees. We went over last month a lot of the committees that he is appointed to. Most notably vice chair of the Public Safety Committee for the state legislature. With that, he's taken at this point multiple votes through that committee, and of the votes he's taken and said yes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 have passed through committee so far. Most of those being unanimous, so a lot of bipartisanry occurring in that committee. We're really excited to see. If you have any specific questions about those committees, I don't want to take too long, or those bills that we voted on, please reach out to me after. We can go here and talk about those. The second thing I wanted to bring up, since we're talking about committees, Juan has 2 bills that are coming up for hearing. I believe in the first or second week of March. We are going to be asking those of you who support these bills, if you want to look into them. I have some handouts here on 2 of the bills that we have. 2 of the bills that we do have coming up for hearing. The first is going to be Assembly Bill 335. It's been a lot in the news lately. I'm sure you've seen. It is a repeal of Proposition 47. I think this would be, extremely beneficial to our small business community here in Modesto that has suffered through a lot of the consequences of this proposition, especially loitering and the change in grant theft from $400 to $950. The second is going to be Assembly Bill 355. For those of you who are not aware, essentially police officers in training are required by PSOT or POST, excuse me, to receive training in handguns. However, they're restricted from training properly the tactical rifles and assault rifles, which is a very important part of their job. The reason for this being is because you can't legally loan an assault rifle to another individual in the state of California. So this bill essentially would exempt police officers in training from this restriction, allowing them to go and receive the training they need with these tactical rifles. It's all about keeping our men in blue, men and women in blue, I should say, accountable and make sure that they are trained properly. So that's all I have for you. Again, if you have any specific questions about the bills that we voted on in the last hearing, which was on Valentine's Day on Tuesday, just come reach out to me afterwards.
I'm on the Cal Travel Board. A big issue both locally and statewide is SB 972.
SB 972, okay.
I'll give you my card. This is the unpermitted vendor law. It's come up at different meetings. It comes up at July 4th parade meetings because police are no longer able to move vendors along because they're protected and have some modifications to that to make it better both for tourism and for vendors. It's a big issue in the agriculture industry that we hear from our partners is that it's tied into human trafficking predominantly. A lot of those vendors are tied into human trafficking, and this law is protecting the person who's making money, not people at the stand.
Sure. Okay, no, thank you.
And I know it's an SB, but from Cal Travel, I know it's being presented across the board, so.
Yeah, sure, and I'm sure if it passes through the upper chamber, then it has to come down to the lower chamber to get to the governor's desk. So I'll definitely track on this, and then we can touch base. And have
just
someone
make
from
it
the capital
better.
team reach out. Yeah, absolutely.
Doing mine committee up.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, yeah, one more thing. We are actually right now looking for advisory group members. We're starting to develop our advisory councils in the realms right now. We may be expanding in the future, but we're focusing on 3, those 3 being business, water and agriculture, and veterans. As you guys have heard from me the last 45 days or so, 46 days. Those have really been where our policies are aligning. So we really want to hear from our community on what they would like to see in our policy and how they feel about the policy we've already presented. So if you know anybody, please refer them to me. We are, I've gotten in contact with a few people who are willing, but we're looking to add about 5 to 7 people on each of the advisory groups.
Cool. Any questions? Further questions?
Yeah, Michael, for Justin and Kristen and Trish, is there an opportunity to actually have something that the chamber can create that has the bills that, Duarte's doing, and then the bills that, Maria's doing, and the bills, so where every month, because Trish does so good with this by putting out information, flyers and things of that nature to where we can see those and then maybe a small description, but not giving them a hard task of having to identify what these bills are, but being able to put the bills up there, what they're for, in line with
Yeah, something like that we can attach to the agenda or something while people walk in so they can just instead of.
No, I'm talking about online, when you go to online, when it says chamber happenings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then everyone can see what the introduction of this particular bill is and what that bill means. So where it just makes it so much more easier and open to so many people out there who are not following this, such as the GRC is. Is that something that can happen, Trish, you think?
I'm sure there's potential to pull that together.
Yeah, I can.
But making it easy for the chamber by, already having the graphic done to where she can just post it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So like, for example, these fact sheets that I have that I usually bring with me. These are a great tool. I print off more than these.
They're bullet points though.
They're absolutely, it's a 1-pager on a massive bill and exactly what it would change.
I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, so I can start forwarding these as I receive them to you, Trish, and if you'd like to post them wherever you want, feel free.
We will be building a virtual referral resource hub that's going to be a standing point on our website and our social media to connect all of our community partners. So transportation will have a place. We hadn't gotten to the thought of these, but we can certainly add that in the layer. There'll be family services, business resources, we're going to cover all the topics. And then once they click to that, they'll be dropped down. So we'll look to layer something like this in.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can look to templatize a bill tracker, if you will, and then we can disseminate it, or it can be populated and then their staff can post it. I think that's what you're looking.
And there's a lot of those already developed privately, so if you guys want to just like throw a link up that says track, your assembly members' bills here with the query already filled out in the database, and then you just stick that link online, and then whatever they go to it just shows an update.
Okay.
And there's a lot of ways to go about it.
Cool.
It's a little time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Of course.
Am I missing any elected official offices? I'm sorry, I
She's with me. Oh, yeah, let me introduce.
I don't
Abby.
think we have met. Yeah.
I don't think so. This is Abby Pendleton. She's another one of our field reps. She's working part-time right now, Fresno State student and working toward a law degree. So she is been very involved in the political field. We've worked plenty of times together in the past. And we're excited to bring her on board.
Oh, great. Good to meet you. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, if you want to pop your name in the attendee sheet there, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
For those of you that came in a little late, please know there is pizza up at the front and we do have a microwave if like it reheated at this point.
So utility updates, I don't see anybody from AT&T, Comcast. We can go into MID. Dana, if you'd like to provide an update.
Yes, since we're talking about legislation, here's my card, by the way. You and I haven't met, but we're gonna become fast friends.
All right.
Currently, because today is the last day for bill introduction, currently there are 4 bills dealing with water rights. And 3 of them will be coming up in a committee that Assembly Member Alanis sits on. So we expect his no vote in very strong terms on all 3 of these bills. And these bills are looking to give the State Water Board more authority, which all of you have known in past years that we fought the State Water Board with the water grab. And because we won a lawsuit back in 2015, and I believe we have a few more with their curtailment orders, that they've now tried to go the legislative route. So these are 4. As I said, currently, who knows how many more will be introduced today. And then we get into the gut and amend process. So I will be looking for assistance from the city, from our elected members and chambers, if need be, for letters opposing these bills. And we've got to fight at our hands as usual with the state legislature. So and this is just 4 on water rights. There's some on energy. I mean, with all the new members that were elected, they're doing us no favors, except Assembly Member Alanis. I'm sure he's going to do great things for us. Oh, the bills in question are SB 389 by Allen, AB 460 by Bauer Cahan, AB 1272 by Wood, and AB 1337 by Witts.
What was the last one?
AB 1337.
37. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, if you need any letters of support, let us know. Same goes for Alanis's office and everybody else. Shoot us emails if you have templates. If you need something on the chamber letterhead, if you need Trisha's signature or any other support from the GRC, we're here. We take it very seriously because we want to make sure that we're supporting business and everybody else in the community. So,
well, and just to add, our water rights, as all of you know, that we supply treated water to the city of Modesto. So where you might think it might not impact you, if you live in this area, you're impacted. If MID's impacted, you're gonna be impacted. And, it will have an impact on the city and their, ability to supply drinking water to their residents. So, we have a fight ahead of us.
Yes, and we have a water committee. We'll make sure that, I think that's currently being chaired by Mike Meridian still. We resurrected that, I don't know, some time ago, probably over a year ago now, and we're up to speed and let's keep in touch on those bills.
Our green tea meeting yesterday was on water and we attended this.
I
It was
was
a
in
good
Sacramento. So,
I think we recorded. It was a good meeting.
oh, okay,
Some
if it's
interesting
recorded, I
stuff.
can watch it on the.
It'll be up by Tuesday. Probably.
Sweet, thanks.
Is there anybody that you'd like to see speak to this group specifically on water that would be interested in coming in? And you can email me.
I'll give it some thought. It's just, look, everybody in this area that's familiar, they're friendly. We have support of our legislature and our business community. It's really those outside and, with pre-1914 water rights and the concern with, safe drinking water for all. And we live in a watershed where we get snow and we own the rights to the Tuolumne and we manage our water better than the state manages their water supply. It's a power grab and they want more control than they have. And they put it under the guise of modernizing water rights because it's not fair. And it's pretty simple. They also say it's very confusing. And the thought is, our position is first in, first right. And we have those rights. It's pretty simple. And if there's issues on other rivers with diverters, then there's ways that can be handled. And they're currently not exercising those rights.
Any questions for Dana and MID?
Great job, Dana. Great. job.
Yeah, good work.
Thanks. You miss my reports, don't you?
California League of Cities, Stephen Qualls is out of town this weekend. In my neck of the woods with PG&E, I've been approached by a few council members on the raising rates and high energy bills this winter. So I can speak a little bit to that. It's really driven by higher demand and tighter supplies on the West Coast. Like other utility companies, we don't control the market price for gas and electricity, nor do we mark up the cost of the energy that we purchase. The CPUC recently approved distributing the California climate credit as soon as possible. They didn't give a date, but it's going to be ahead of the annual April timeframe, which is going to help our customers a little bit. And then the governor recently requested an investigation into wholesale natural gas companies. So more to come on that. PG&E as a company has lots of income qualified programs and assistance offered on our website. There's CARE. There's some state funded programs like LIHEAP, REACH. And then we can put folks on payment arrangements, and there's some forgiveness plans that we have. So I just encourage you to encourage your constituents to either reach out to me directly or visit our website or call our 1-800 number to get more information on those resources.
I just wanted to ask what resources are available to commercial customers, because we've gotten a lot of calls about residential, but surprisingly more than I'd expect from commercial, especially small businesses and even like, doctor's offices, Medicare providers. Is there any resources available to them?
Other than solar, not a lot. Energy efficiency upgrades would help. They can have energy audits, someone visit their business and perform one to assess whether or not they would benefit from energy upgrades. And those would be measures like changing lights out to LEDs, insulation, weather stripping, new windows, all of that, depending on what type of facility that they have. But we see some of the larger, medium to large businesses leveraging solar to save, and it saves substantially. So just a couple options there.
A separate thought, when you're talking to those businesses, we are the county's provider for getting businesses green certified. Going through the process, there's a checklist for every industry, but sometimes we can access rebates to help those businesses offset upgrades for certain things by whichever is funded at a given time. And we would love to be able to get more businesses certified countywide.
And MID also offers those energy audits if they're in MID territory.
Right.
And I can attest to Mike's comment about the rising costs. MID's natural gas costs went up, I think, like 3 times what we normally would have paid in any other year that in 2022. So the rising cost of natural gas is out of hand.
Any other questions? Is there any other organizations that would like to provide a quick update on the left? Todd, anybody before we move on to our guest speaker?
So I do have.
Okay, Cecil.
Probably under announcements, but the Modesto Marathon is going to be in March. And they're going to partner with the Graffiti Museum. And looking here, I have it on the screen.
I think it's the last Sunday of the month.
Yeah, it's
28th, I think.
Yeah.
It's the 26th.
Expect to have 3,000 to 5,000 runners. They're gonna all register at the museum. That day that they're registering, by the way, we have a fundraiser, chicken dinner, $30, $100 before.
You got tickets there, so.
Yeah, we'll have tickets. Yeah. Actually, they go on sale on Monday, but this marathon is really a big deal. And the partnership with them is we have the Farrell's Car Club and Hot Rod Club. They're going to have cars down there. And then they're going to move them back out to the museum. And then all along the route, there's going to be all the other car clubs and then have classic cars in that. But it should be a big event for Modesto, right? Yeah. So anyway, we work with three. So yeah.
Good, excellent. Yeah, support the Classic Car Museum, and maybe you can get some chicken before you run 26 miles. Or after. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest speaker. I don't know if it's going to be you, Adam, speaking. Okay, Adam Barth, who is the CEO of the Regional Transit Authority, or RTA. And today's topic for discussion is new routes and connections of the S, or on the S, excuse me. So the floor is all yours.
Great, thank you for the time today. Yeah, we're going to do a quick presentation on the S, but on the route. Well, we want to do a quick recognition of our board members. So Councilmember Wright here, your audience, Councilmember Ricky, I know who's online, and Williams as well, who's here as serves as an alternate on the. So thank you for being here. So first off, I'm going to go to the presentation.
No, wait, I have to remember which bus I'm driving. This one.
That one.
Let me expand.
Don't you just love our Gallup Center, everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some site picks.
So Outmore. There we go.
Yes, you get the whole slide.
Oh, out the minus.
Yeah.
Maybe one more. Or maybe one more. Or maybe one more.
There you go. That's good. So I want to give a quick update on who we are first, because we're a new transit system, and so I'll give you some updates on that, who we are, how we were formed, and then go into the routes that we serve around Modesto and the county. So there's some numbers about who we are. So we have 23 fixed routes. Those are the big buses we see around Modesto and the county. 128 vehicles in the fleet. That's between big buses and small buses, and we'll talk more about that. Over different stops in the system throughout the county. The demand response, which is our ADA service and other demand response services, which we'll talk more about. We serve about 127,000 rides in a year, so that's great. We'll talk a little bit about our electric buses here in a bit, but each one costs $853,000.
How does that compare with diesel or other?
Diesel about 60, so about 10,000. And hybrid bus for 1 the rides on the fixed route, that's the big buses you see around about 2 million. And then a budget for the current years, 47. Go to the next slide. Talks a little bit about who we are. So we were formed about 2 years ago. We are what's called a joint powers agency that's formed between the county and Modesto. Because both those agencies operated their own transit system. So now we're one system that provides transit services in Modesto and the county.
So Max is no more, is that what?
True.
this is about? Okay.
We will talk about that in just a moment. So between those two services, Modesto and county both operated fixed route demand response and AD county services, along with commuter services as well, which I'll talk about also in the top video. So the board is a 7-member it's an independent board. The picture there is actually a picture of the original board -1. It's changed a bit since then, because all the city council members from this have been changed now. But that's the original board. We started, even though the agency was formed about 2 years ago, they didn't really start operations or take over ownership of the operations until July of 2020. So that's when we began to start the process of melding the two agencies together. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So that was one of the first tasks that we had to do was to, okay, we need a new unified brand, and we need to figure out how to make the routes more efficient. That was the whole idea behind them. Go to the next slide. So the process started by retiring the existing brand. So the Max brand, this orange bus here, this is actually an electric bus. We have 5. We have 5. But this brand, the Max brand, had to be retired. You still may see this brand around because it takes a long time to maintain buses. We just can't do it. Hopefully, that one takes a bus at a time, and we have 128 vehicles in the fleet. It's going to take a while, but we're getting there. I think we'll be done the next few months. So that's the Max brand. If you go to the next screen, that is the Start brand. So that's the burning in white buses that you see on Modesto and. So both those brands were retired, and the board chose a new brand called ES. So a nice blue bus, nice gold S on the side. Yes, with the slogan YES. You also hear me call it the Santa RTA. That was the initial acronym that we used. So that's the new brand that the board chose, and so we're looking forward with that. Everything has been rebranded except for a few of the buses. Bus stops have been rebranded. The website, virtually everything, even Jack. So it'll take time for the community to figure this out. We do a lot of marketing out there to help people know what we are today, and we've got a good feedback. So that was the first step we had to do. The second step was to look at all the routes, because we knew that the Start and the Max routes, they were separate entities, and there was some duplication. And we knew that there was ways that we could fix that, make better use of the resources that we had to use, and create a better route system, not just focus on certain parts of the county. And so we go to the next slide. We started a planning process for Vision 2032 to figure all that out. And so our goals of that was to integrate the Max and the Start routes into one cohesive route system, with the goal to get more people on buses. The routes are easier to use, more people will use them because it's easier to use. And And so that's, that was one of the goals, to get more people on the bus, because it's it's easier to use, and we'll talk more about that. One goal was to get more hours into other parts of the area, to Modesto and the county, to do an equitable distribution of those hours. That's basically where all the bus routes go. To provide more equitable service to the low income areas of our community. Make effective use of the demand response options. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then provide a safety net for paratransit users. Paratransit is a service that we have for ADA. It's for those that can't use the FITRA system. So they may be in a wheelchair. There's some other disability that prevents them from using the FITRA system. And there's a vital transportation option because they opt out no other way to give it. To the next slide. So we did a lot of work with the communities to find out what they wanted, where routes were going, what worked well, what didn't work well. And some consistent themes that came out of this was they wanted to have a consistent service throughout the week. There were some routes that didn't operate on the weekend, so they wanted the weekend, so they wanted weekend service, and maybe some more hours in the evening as well. So we heard that. Create more hubs around the area, around the county, to provide a better system connectivity to the folks around. Add more bus stops and place them more often as well, so people don't have to walk as far. Improve the technology on the system. And I'm going to do a demo of that in just a minute. Expand our partnerships with our communities and focus on ridership. We had some committees that we had help us out. Trish was actually part of one, which was great to have her on there to provide that perspective. And it was great to get a lot of, we were out there in the communities a lot, and we got a lot of great feedback from government help us educate us on what was the right thing to do. So with the whole process, it was a year-long effort. The recognition were approved by the board in October, and will become effective on March 5th, which is all this stuff here. We're going to talk about that. So highlights in Modesto. So there are a lot of routes haven't changed a whole lot. So there's some that haven't happened there. But our highest ridership corridor is on the Indiana. So we have two different routes that are going. We haven't really done much with those. Those are going to stay mostly the same. So we are retaining that. And we are moving forward with a planning effort to introduce BRT. You know what BRT is? It's called, it stands for Bus Rapid Transit. So it's a type of transit service that's frequent, that has more amenities to it, like traffic signal priority to the buses faster. Have bus stops where the level of the bus stop is at the same height as the bus, so you don't get to deploy a ramp or a lift. The bus, you just step right onto it. And it's a different brand oftentimes as well. And you'll see it in lots of different places, Stockton, Sacramento, in the Bay Area. There's lots of places that have these systems. And another key piece of that is it comes often every 10 minutes or less. So it makes it so you don't have to plan your trip. You just go out there within 10 minutes, a bus will be there, and you're not there. Other things that we'll look at in Modesto, we realigned some routes to improve access to healthcare, especially the hospital and retail. New routes in south and west Modesto as well. And a lot of our hours that we had in those areas, we found that people are trying to get to the north part of Ceres along Hatch Road. And so we didn't have any routes that made that direction. We need to make some adjustments. We're looking at installing or creating a new hub, a mobility hub at the mall. And then an overall system improvement to improve the schedules, to make sure that the buses are more on time and more often. Obviously, there's times where the bus is not going to be on time. There's lots of traffic that's not going on. So they do get behind sometimes, but for the most part, we want to make sure, for the most part, that so people can. So with all these changes, we created a new system map and route schedule. So I think most of you have that. A few more here you don't. But this system map is a new route map for Modesto. And kind of, so one side is the Modesto series area and the other side is the county. In addition to that, we've gone to a route brochure. There, that's what I have. So that you can find out your schedule, which one. So you look at the system map first, find out where you want to go, where you come from, where you're going. Figure out I need to take 1 or 2 or 3 routes. Hopefully it's not more than that. And then you go to these to figure out how to get there. And so these maps have the schedule itself right there, but also the map, the detailed map of where the route goes. And you see all the streets there. There's lots of little dots around. And if you want some of these, feel free to take them. There's little dots along the route that show where the bus stops are. And so you can find out, okay, that's where I'm at. There's where bus stops at. You can find the bus stop there on the street. And then you can use the schedule here to figure out how you're going to make connections to get around. Actually, if you put the system map up here, so say you're trying to get from downtown here up to the mall. That's just one route that would take you there. Great. But say you're on Orangeburg, but you want to get down to West Modesto. Now, if you take a route that would get you there, and then make a connection there to West Modesto, and that's the yellow one to get there. So it really depends on where you want to go. So most likely there's going to be a connection because we can't have a route that goes from everywhere to everywhere. So obviously there's going to be some connections there to get people to where they need to go. So go back to the presentation. That's just a picture of the map of this schedule. This there, this schedule itself. Those that aren't sure really how to read a schedule. You see the A, B, C, D, and there's also A, B, C, 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 D on the map. Those are called time points. So we know the time for every bus stop on the route because there's probably 100 stops there. If we had 100 columns, obviously this would be huge for sure. And that's not the right thing to do. So you look at the bus stop where you're going to, or where you're going to start from. So say it's right there, and so you look at it. Okay, it's after the A. You see what time it goes, and it'll be just a minute or two after the A, and then that's how you figure out what's kind of easy to do that specific test. And so that's how transit is done throughout the world. Go to the next slide. This is just the other side of the map. You'll notice that we put the map and the schedule put to the weekday on one side of the paper, so you can fold it all out and look between the schedule on the map. On the other side is a Saturday and Sunday service, which is a reduced service. Let's keep going to bus stops. So with this change, we got 200 new bus stops in the whole system, which is awesome. All the bus stops are marked with a bus stop sign that you see there in the upper right. On the lower part of the bus stop post is an information post, which is the guy right there in the middle, which gives you a QR code where you take your phone and it'll take you right to our app. And our app, which is what I'll show you in just a minute, it's called TrackES. There's a fun fact there that Angela found. I won't mention Angela. Angela just wants to draw. She's on my crew. She's been doing a lot of this stuff. But she found this fact, and it's a kind of noted in the industry as well that average person will walk about a half mile or so to get to a bus stop. And so we want to get more people closer to that range, get more people closer to the bus stop. Obviously, the closer you get, the more likely. So now we could go to that video with that. I'm going to do a quick demo of. So this is called TrackES, and you can see about the
This one, right?
Top. I'm going to talk through this.
And let me screen share again, so we also have it online. Whoops. Sorry.
So this is the app. You can choose the route that you want to look at. And here I'm going to select one. And I just did this morning, 23. And here the map of the route comes up in all those little dots. Okay, route 23. And the route comes up and you see all the little dots, these are all bus stops along the route. And then these other bubbles there are actually the buses. This is this isn't live, it was live when I recorded it. But the buses will move, those little things will move like that. You can just be updated every 15 seconds. And so when you look at this bus, when you click on the bus itself, that you can switch that. So you can see what bus number it was and how many people were on the bus and waiting. And here I clicked on the bus stop itself, is on Henry, and I can see which bus route to go to that specific bus stop. That's depending on the
Are not on here, right?
not on there.
Where are they at?
And it's on the bus stop post.
This one?
No, on the bus stop post itself, it's actually.
At the bus stop.
Here, too.
Okay. Next is on. We also have system alerts on here, so we can tell passengers if there's any delay, bus stops. We have an issue with the system on Monday. It's not really. Here you can pay for your trip as well. So through the token, basically the token transit app, right through the app there, you can pay for your trip. You can choose your pass type. You put the regular fare and you put the type of pass you want. So you're going to put the all-day pass and then buy it, and then it goes into the wallet. Yeah, right there, and that's your wallet. And then you click on that pass, it verifies the pass, and this screen comes up, and this is what you show the driver to get on the bus. And so you don't have to have a physical pass in your hand anymore, you just have your phone as all that you need.
What if someone doesn't have a phone?
Then you can still pay for it with cash. And the next part here was the app. You will go to the bus stop that's closest to where you're at. So if you maybe load that location on your phone and you launch the app, it'll show you which bus stop is the closest. And then as you see this, it scrolls to see all the different bus routes that go to that specific route. And then you can show where it's at, and so map it out for you from your location. I did from my office, just around the corner. And so it makes it easy to find a bus stop and then find out which routes go to that bus stop. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, any questions on the app? You can download the app, and it's called Track the S, and you should be able to pull it from your phone.
So what about some of the older riders who aren't as savvy? Like
That's where we have the printed schedules that you switch through. The only way to track your bus is to have a phone. You can't track the bus on paper because it's not real time. But
are you having challenges with some of the older drivers? I mean, older people who are.
There are some that would like to know how to do it, but the only way to really look at it is on a phone or on a computer as well. The same type of thing is on our website. So, but there's not a way that there's not a way you can put that on computer to show the real-time information. We are looking at bus stop signs that have real-time information that say bus route 22 will be there in 2 minutes or whatever. Right. We're not there. They're not there yet, but it is on the radar.
But we do have regular riders, no matter what their age, that have us on speed dial that'll say, "Where's my bus?"
Oh, okay.
And so the customer service that's open and it'll say,
Customer
"It's
service.
running late. Where is it?" And then customer service will do exactly what you just saw.
Yeah, so you can plan your trip.
Yeah, you can plan your trip and take it into Google Maps from A to B, whatever A to B is. It'll show you what routes that you need to take where you walk to get to that bus stop and which routes to take and what time they'll be there.
I've noticed some improvements to the hub downtown. Are you going to be increasing some more improvements? I see you have a gate there now. Is that necessary? What was that?
So downtown hub, we're doing the improvements for the ACE train to come to it. We did some more improvements for the building and for the islands as well where the buses go. But the intent was to improve the station for the ACE train when it comes in a couple of years.
Craig Lewis is online and he's asking which side of the lights do the buses stop and point of view.
We like to put our bus stops most of the time on the far side of the intersection, so that buses don't get caught out of red lights. So say if the stop was before the intersection, they would stop, pick people up, drop them off, and then they'd have to scoot forward 20 feet or whatever it is, and then they'd be at a stop light. So instead, they go through the intersection, stop at the stop, and they can keep going, they can keep going, which is the reason why we have bus stops for the most part on the far side. It does not work all the time. That's our general rule. The buses do stop in the lane of traffic. There are some turnouts that we have in the system, but most of them do stop traffic. And it's just to let them walk and get them.
Are you looking, you talk about those turnouts, which are really good, especially over my district, there's quite a few of them. Which really keeps our traffic moving. Have you looked at, and talked to Caltrans about doing some turnouts along the Kimmery? I know that really backs, I go down the Kimmery a lot and always, if I get behind a bus, I'm good.
Yeah, it's some of those areas are tight. I'm for sure there's not a whole lot of quiet way in those areas.
Message, message.
Private property areas. And so, wherever we can, it is, well, it's part of any new specifications, any new development required to have bus turnouts, but in the older parts of town, they're not there, and we do look at them by case basis. There are a lot of bus stops that do stop.
And then one of the questions I have, do you guys keep track of the maintenance cost on each bus along with how much fuel each bus uses? And what is the life expectancy of each bus?
Each bus, each of the big buses have a 12
diesel buses.
Yeah, 12-year useful life. Quite often we'll keep them more than that, but the minimum that we have to keep them is 12 years.
And are you keeping the maintenance and fuel costs on the electric buses? Are you tracking that?
Yes.
And what's the lifespan on those electric buses?
It is the same 12 years, but the electric buses have also some trouble there. They break down.
The electric buses,
they do. They get them back and they can fix, but they are probably sure.
Okay, so on the electric buses, you say 12 years, is that due to the fact of the battery? Or is it the electric part of running the bus?
This is all of the components. The 12-year lifespan is for electric buses and diesel buses. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the propulsion fuel is. It's 12 years.
And how often you have to change the batteries in the electric bus?
We've heard 7 to 8 years. We'll need to change them. We'll see. We've not had changed one yet because it ran out of its being able to charge anything. We've had some have to be replaced because they're effective.
I would be curious, and down the road, or put in our meetings that we have, to see what the actual maintenance costs, lifespan between the diesel and the electric, if they get some comparisons. Electrics are much more expensive, and I'm hoping that the maintenance cost will be a lot less. But the batteries are probably $200,000 to $300,000 for that. I would assume on those. Probably more than that.
There's a lot of them on buses.
Per bus, I would think to take out batteries, it's probably going to extend. So
Actually, I think the next slide might just talk about something. Anyway, any more questions before I keep going?
I'll wait to the end.
I'll go faster. Fair structure. So these are the passes that you can buy on the bus. Customer service. If you're a youth, age 0 to 18, it's free. If you're going to JC, it's also free at the bus. So that's all the time for all of us. Most of us in the room probably we pay $2 to get a ticket on the bus. When you get $2 on the bus, you get a day pass. You take that day pass and you can use on any other bus that day for unlimited rides. You can buy a 31-day pass for unlimited rides for 31 days. That involves every route in the whole system, both in Modesto and County, and also to Stockton and to the H train as well. The one difference that we have in the fare structure is the BART commuter buses that go to the BART station in Dublin. Those are $15 for the round trip, or $175 for the 31-day pass. On the 80 Paratransit Transit, those are $250 per trip. And so that's for a specialized door-to-door service. Go to the next slide.
You sell a lot of daily, or a lot of monthly pass.
We sell a lot of both, but both of the one day passes and the 30-day passes. Some specialized services that we have a Medivan service that takes people from here to the Bay Area to different medical facilities in the Bay Area. That goes every weekday, which is great. Let's say it's $10-15 for the round trip.
And how many people did that pass hold?
That will hold 12 plus 4 wheelchairs.
And how is it full? Is it being used at capacity or is it being one person?
Some days it's one, so some days it's one. It really depends on who looks that. But that's why we're here, to try to get that word out and make sure that people know about this service.
So is that taking them to the Bay Area to whichever medical facility they need to go to?
There's a list of 10 or so that we go to, and it's good, and it goes in an order. So, and it's you call to make the reservation for the trip. So the customer service folks will put you in the order of the
Got it.
So it's all the major ones. It's not a doctor office for the most part. It's at a hospital or major medical offices.
We did Stanford, UCSF, St. Mary's. And it's all like when you're talking about it, we're not the whole campus, the Veterans Affairs, all veterans hospitals, VA clinics. And go through, it's a very comprehensive list. For those in need, obviously, nobody would really like to take public transit and a bus. But if you need it, this is a life-saving opportunity. And the bus only runs, if we have reservations for those who need it, and we run basically every Monday. Yes.
And those are 2% on some of the stations.
And on this again, if the child's the patient, they ride for free, or any way they do, but it's more expensive for the patient, the attendant. Something they need someone with them rides at a discount. So this is, we're finding just vital for families with children who have good health.
So what's the average cost for a Medivan person? You go Stanford. So what would that cost?
The real cost.
The real cost, or the cost to the rider? I'm sorry, the cost to the rider or the true cost? The rider is $15. $15. $15. 15.
Okay.
Round trip.
$15.
$15.
Some parking.
There we go. It leaves at 6 in the morning, and it comes back. It's back.
It's back by 6 in the evening, and the time can vary. And again, because we do that loop, you can imagine where, and we ask people to work with us on the timing so that if you're going to the VA Veterans Center in Livermore, that's the first we hit. We ask those people to make their appointments earlier in the day. They'll also be the last ones picked up on the way back. And we work with them actively. If they're the only person, then the bus doesn't have to go further. They can come home earlier. Yeah. But if we go from there and have an appointment at Stanford, we work with them on what their scheduling needs to be. And the hospitals also have gotten very good at working with public transit operators, because they'll realize this is all the patients can do for getting to and from their appointments. But we'll work with them in getting their appointments and then bringing them back. The driver stays out the whole day with them and doing the trip.
The reason I'm asking, I'm a native 85 years old, and we have to go all the time. We really are not to drive. But he goes to a large Kaiser facility in the San Jose area. I don't know where it is.
San Jose, I don't think we know that.
We don't go quite out as far as San Jose.
Stanford is like.
That's
So is there a sponsorship or something that pays for the offset? Because, I mean, obviously that doesn't sound like you're making any money on that. So when you said there's some grant And along with that question, what is the ride share been good in the last 21, 22? It's been up since 20. And then it was free in December, if I'm not mistaken. Is that going to be all the time? I don't know if everybody knew that.
So, right, the rise has increased from 2020 for sure. And it is increasing. We're about back to our pre-COVID ridership at this point now, which is great. The system is funded with fares. That's obviously a piece of it, but the majority of the funding comes from state and federal sources. So federal, the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, and then what's called LTF or Local Transportation Fund, which is funded with sales tax dollars. So that's where the majority of the funding comes from to operate the system. And then the third, I think it was the last question.
With the rider share, the free in December.
Oh, free in December, yeah, so it's a state grant that's out there to help entice more folks to get on the bus. It's called the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program. And so we do those 3 months to get more people on the bus. We have a free month in December. We also do a free month in July. And then a couple of days throughout the year, like on Earth Day, there'll be a free day, just
Yamada, did you know that?
No, so I already sent this information to our communications department because that MetaMan is going to be very useful for different patients. And not just that, the fact that families are going to be able to save in gas and parking, and some people don't have reliable vehicles.
Right.
So that's something great. So I'm glad that I was here.
Youth are free all the time. So it's been great to see that whole families can go to the store together and all can carry home groceries or whatever.
That's
And I know Trish had her hand up, but is there some way that you can get this information to, or when you do your
We have Metavan brochures out.
well, not only just your brochures, but something that can go directly,
Like a
work
toolkit.
directly with Golden Valley Health?
Yeah,
Because,
like a
you know, they have a lot of people that ride the bus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, who are you reaching out to? Because you can tell all of us are just learning about this and thoroughly interested. Like, who are you working with? Are you working with the healthcare facility? Who are you speaking with? Like, I would love to have y'all come to Rotary. I think this would be a great presentation. It's just like, who do you work with?
Real quick, if I could, before we go down too many rabbit holes, we have about 5 minutes and you have about 7 slides and you don't have to leave at one, but some might. So we have one standing question going forward. We may see less VA appointments in Palo Alto and Livermore. Modesto was recently moved to the VA Northern California catchment. Vets will still be able to go to VA Palo Alto facilities, but there will be a shift for more veteran appointments towards VA Mather. Okay, thank you for that. That came from Greg with McClintock's office. So you have several slides. Happy to run those for you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I suggest since we do have the deck, we can kick that out to everybody. Let's finish Q&A now with the last couple minutes that we have. We'll distribute your deck, exchange contact information, and then follow up because I'd like to get us out on time. That's a commitment that I made to everybody. So final question here.
First of all, while your network overlaps with the 13th district, which is basically West Stanislaus series, West Side Turtle and West Side Modesto. Do you have like any names for the main federal level grants that are funded?
I do, and you're with the
Congressman Duarte.
yeah. Because we talk about one.
Yes, and we're actually doing we're doing it for the potential ACE investing connection next week. So
Okay, yeah, that's great.
yes, please.
Is there any key slides you need to hit that you wanted to hit? I can run them and you can.
The key things.
Yeah, we did, and it sounds like you're all supportive, so which is great, which is kind of the last slide. You keep going, things that you can do to help us get the word out about all these different services.
Can we go back to the EV? Because that's just such a huge issue in this state.
Yeah, and so we have 5 electric buses in the fleet today, and those are when the charge is out there. As well. We're probably not going to go down the battery electric fleet side. We are required to go as zero emission starting in 2026. Some of our new purchases have to be zero emission. But it looks like we're going to go down the hydrogen road instead of the battery electrical. It's still an electric bus, just filled with hydrogen. Which is going to require a new facility, which will start that process here in the next few years to build a new facility to accommodate hydrogen and battery.
And you guys are getting grant funding for,
It's all there.
good for you. Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I remember when we originally talked about the idea about if we had to get 130 of those in the fleet, and I'd get really big, like, what, how much power? That's not gonna happen.
No, and I know y'all have been working with MID. It's clearly a different department than me, but, yeah, good for you.
So anyway, lots of questions, that's kind of like, I think we hit all.
You and I talked earlier about Ace Train, and we said Ace Train would probably be up and running by the end of probably 4.
Right, that's right.
You anticipate, once Ace Train is here in Modesto, of course, down the road when they're done, do you anticipate more traffic once Ace Train comes to downtown? And is that going to change a lot of the routes and stuff?
It could for sure. Well, I mean, once it comes, we'll figure out how to have routes that will connect to the H train station. So it'll be our downtown station. So it'll be at the same place, but the bus routes to get people there instead of having them have to drive them downtown. Yeah, all things that we're looking at.
Okay, then I want to make one statement. I would 20 years she was saying that she really was all these years.
Sure.
Every route. And she said you have the friendliest bus driver ever. And with all this change, she's got this all of them. And so she can, you can.
Adam, what time do they start?
The first one, the route to Modesto, 5:15 in the morning. We have some address that start on this. Give people a car like 4:30.
And you'll probably tweak that one.
Yeah, we'll look at what we need to do to tweak that. So that's a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, it definitely is online.
Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate it. Thank you to your staff. Angela, thank you. And we really appreciate lunch. Couple closing comments before I know I'm the last thing or the only thing probably standing between you and a 3-day weekend as you go close your workday. Our next meeting is Friday, March 17th. That happens to fall on St. Patrick's Day. Our very own Manny Gruwall will be here to talk about business and economic development in Stanislaus County.
We're gonna have corned beef.
Well, not our district, but oh no, our very own, sorry. But Nick's Irish. Maybe they're gonna surprise us with some corned beef and cabbage and green beer. That would be nice, or root beer.
Or chicken curry.
But that would be great. Also, Mayor Zwollen's gonna host the State of the City this Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. at the Modesto Center Plaza. It's free, open to the public. There's a virtual option.
You have to register for that, right?
Register online.
It's not a Q&A.
And not a Q&A session.
I think so.
I don't think.
No, I thought I saw online.
Oh, it's open to public.
It's
There's a
open,
flyer.
it's free.
Yeah, but they want you to register, don't they?
Don't they want you to register so they can kind of have like a head count?
Yes. I'm
I
looking it up.
could be making it up.
I didn't see anything like that, Nick.
Okay.
It's not a Q&A though. Okay, making sure. It's not a Q&A.
Yep. So we look forward to hearing from Manny, and he is also going to bring lunch in. So we are on a roll. Please, we are on a roll with great guest speakers and lunch sponsors. So please let me know who you want to hear from, and or if you want to sponsor a lunch. 1:02 p.m. will during the meeting. Thank you so much for coming.
Good job, Mike.
Person, appreciate it.
Good job, Adam.